And think of the Faro Arm as a pencil and a ruler all in one. What it does, it's known as a three-dimensional imaging device. So what it does, it records objects in 3 dimensions for you. So you're like, okay, well that's nice, and so what? Well, think of something this way. Say we have an artifact like this big black thing. This is a fire grate that was recovered off of the steamboat Heroine up in Oklahoma. This would have sat on 2 riders that ran longitudinally, and then all of the coal and the wood that burned would have been placed on top. So this was one of the pieces of machinery that we recovered in 2005. We brought it up, we conserved it, and now we're doing all of the artifact recording. What's interesting for this piece is that you see here, well, it's really warped and it's bent. Well, metal doesn't normally do that, at least not this type of cast iron. Normally when it gets really hot, it breaks. So this is unusual. This is something that's noteworthy. Well, I could sit here with a pen and a ruler and record this by hand. Well, that's going to take a lot of time. We have several thousand artifacts from this wreck. So if we took about a week to do each one, we would never finish. So we can use this Faro Arm to get an overall shape of the object, and then we can print this out, and it replaces all the work that would have taken me weeks in about a half hour. So I've already done this one, and I'll just show you. This image here is what we have done with capturing points. And you can see that all it is a bunch of dots. And then what we can go and do, after we go ahead and collect the overall shape and dimensions, we can then play a nice game of connect the dots, and you have an outline of the artifact that you're studying. At this point, this is called reverse engineering. What you could then do, you could then put this into another, like a 3D rendering program, like Blender, and then you can give it texture, and you can play with shadows and color. Or you can import this into AutoCAD and make a perfect one of these, an ideal copy, without this warping. So it really helps us record these artifacts in a quick manner. However, the Faro Arm can do something else, which is much cooler. In addition to just recording points with the tip of this gun, which, okay, yeah, that's, it's all well and good. The blue box attached to the top is a laser. Lasers are cool.
Yeah.
It's like a laser? Yes! So, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a quick demonstration. So with this guy, he's pretty, there are very simple shapes here. We just have lines, essentially. Well, now look at these 2 artifacts. This is a pipe, and I have him sit down. So you would load your tobacco in here, and then you would inhale out the back. And then we also have a handle from a bronze cannon that was recovered from LaBelle's ship in Matagorda Bay. Now these 2 artifacts, and these are both reproductions, but how would I record that with points? That would be extremely difficult. Even more difficult would be me trying to draw this by hand, because there's no real clear way to measure this. It would take forever. So we come to the Faro Arm, which is uber cool. So what we're going to do, we are going to just do a quick laser scan, and I will show you how to record an artifact in about 5 minutes. So, and this is, using the laser is definitely preferred, because I will never touch the artifact. With this big hunk of iron, to record it, I'll have to put the very tip of the probe against an edge, and then take a point that way. Well, if this was in a bad condition, every time I touch it, well, some of the surface could flake off. Or if I push a little too hard, well, I might leave an indentation. With the laser, I'm completely hands-off, and it's non-invasive. So if you're working with any type of organic material, like wood or bone, you can scan it without ever having to touch it. So now what we're going to do for something like this Canon handle, and you'll see it on the screen, hopefully. Highlight. Let's do that. Alright. Let's try this. So, and it's just like using a paintbrush. You just go right down the side. The arm is fully articulated, so I can hold it in a variety of ways, with a variety of angles. And as I just make several passes over it,